And we had probably intelligent for me to open the recording software before I started. Tuesday, September 9th, 2025 at 11:11 a.m. Eastern time. To I always say the date and time and that's 11:11. I should have gone for whatever. Mr. Tyrone Smith, and we were just shooting the shit beforehand. I think through Fred Galvin. Is that I've done
Yeah, yep.
1,800 episodes. It all blurs
Mhm.
together. I always have to I'm like, Fred, did you make sure I just fucking piece shit together? But yeah, we were just shooting the shit about, losing family members and suicide and, picking yourself up and all that good stuff and everything in between. And I don't really know what we're talking about today. Neither do you. This is how I go into every show, just naked and afraid. And yeah, we're just gonna fucking wing it, man. So, dude, introduce yourself and we'll go.
Yeah, first and foremost, I want to say that 11:11 a.m. is a really, really good time to start anything. That is a
Yeah,
wonderful number,
yeah.
my
Right. That's
friend.
that's
So,
also the right, isn't that's also the armistice, right? World War
yeah.
One, November
Yeah, yeah,
11th at
yeah.
11:11 a.m. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, all right. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's a I always say the date and time, and the reason I paused is I was like, I don't think I've ever done that one before. 11:11. It came off and I'm like, I haven't done that before. Like every other time.
Yeah.
Sorry, keep going. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, it's really cool to be here. I appreciate you having me
Yeah.
on the show. Everyone calls me Ty, so feel free to call me Ty.
All right.
Um, my short story is I was born and raised in East St. Louis, Illinois, just over the Mississippi River between Illinois and Missouri. Joined the Navy at 18 years old, 17 or 18. Yeah, no, I was 17 when I joined and 18 when I left for boot camp a few months later. Ended up spending 20 years in the United States Navy. I spent the first 5 years as a military police officer and an Italian translator in Sardinia, Italy, which was an absolute phenomenal dream
Fucking
of a
awesome.
time. It was incredible. And then I went and joined the SEAL teams after 9/11 and ended up spending, the next 15 years as an operator in the SEAL teams, deployed 6 times between Iraq, Afghanistan, United Arab Emirates, and retired in 2016 at the rank of senior chief and having accomplished everything that I wanted to accomplish throughout my career in the special operations community. And I felt like it was time for me to move on and challenge myself with something else hard to do. And so I retired from the Navy in 2016 and jumped into entrepreneurship.
Which is it's I got into med school, which is like the proudest achievement thus far I've done. I always say it, and people always roll their eyes, but fuck off, I'm proud of it. It's 15,000 applicants, 100 people got into the school.
That's right.
Starting my own podcast and trying to turn it into a fund making expedition. It is, I can say this certainly, as someone that has now done both, has gotten into med school and who has turned a fucking creation of my own into this weird sponge that I can pull US dollars out of. So much easier getting into med school, man. You're fucking not. Now I can't say I was in the military, but I'm curious what your feedback is on being in like SEAL teams, being kind of in that community versus entrepreneurship.
Oh, you're 100% right. I tell people all the time, most days I'd rather be on the side of a
It,
mountain getting shot
it's
at.
it's so fucked.
It's so hard. Entrepreneurship is the hardest thing I've
Oh
ever done
Jesus God.
in my life. And look, I've built 3 businesses, one of which was successful, the other which I was, had put pretty much all of my eggs into that basket for it to go nuclear through the roof, and it failed. After 6 years of me giving my entire life and everything that I had down to my last penny, it ended up failing, right? And now I'm running Hero Consulting, which is a leadership development and executive coaching shop, and it's going well. It is much less complicated of a business than a venture capital backed generative artificial intelligence company that
Fuck
I
it.
have been running over the last 6 years. But you know what? Thomas, my man, I stretched, you know what I mean? Like my brain, my heart stretched in ways that I never ever dreamed that it would. Being a kid growing up in East St. Louis, Illinois, and always being told that I was too dumb to go to college and make something of myself, and then to move on and not just go to college, but to go several times and have multiple degrees, and then find myself in the CEO seat running a generative artificial intelligence company. Yeah, man, I stretched way farther than even I had given myself credit for having the ability to do. But now that I can hold up both of them next to one another and go entrepreneurship, getting in a gunfight. Like 10 out of 10, I'm going to put entrepreneurship down and choose getting in a gunfight. It's like, no, 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 you don't understand. I've survived like tens, if not 100 of those things, whereas entrepreneurship almost kills me on a daily basis,
No, but it's and like people like roll their eyes at it, which is fine. But for me, like I'm like it's hard for me to roll because I can compare it to getting
Yeah.
in a med. And that was kind of me, man. I was like a meathead in high school and just never had good grades. And part of me wanted to do it out of just, I don't know, anger that I felt like I couldn't do it. And then part of me like really wanted to be a doctor and blah blah blah, that fucking cookie cutter bullshit. But part of me was just so attracted to just like the vicious selection process. I would just be like, this is like I felt alive. And when I look back at it, I would say it's easy because you know what to do. And that kind of sounds like a simplistic, bland explanation, but I mean, we'll call it what it is. So you're 18 right now. You just got into the University of Georgia. And you go, I want to be a doctor, so I have 4 years of college. What do I need to do? Well, you go to the advisor and they go, all right, well, your freshman year, you're going to take bio and chemistry. Next year, you're going to take physics. And then, if you can do those close classes, you're going to move on to organic chemistry and cellular biology and biochemistry. And you also need to, if you can, do some independent research with the faculty, and you're going to hate it, but whatever, it looks good on your resume. You're going to want to shadow doctors and you want to get letters of recommendation. And if you can, do some leadership positions, fraternity, whatever. And you look at that and you go, that's a lot of work. Correct. But it is work. It is a list of things you need to do. In the same
Hmm.
way that an ultra marathon is difficult, but you know what to do. You go, I just got to
Hmm.
train. It might take me 10 years, but I just got to train. And people might roll their eyes at that. And I go, okay, so that was hard enough, but I knew what to do. Just keep walking on this road forever. Entrepreneurship, not only is there not a road, you don't you don't even know if you should go this direction. You don't even know if you should be going a direction. You don't know if you're in the right place or
Hmm.
not. You might be in the perfect spot. You don't, should I be walking this way? Should I find a road? Do I need to build the road? And then the thing is anyone that's figured it out, with the exception of some like snake oil, salesman, they're probably not gonna, you'll find some very good eggs. They're probably not gonna tell you because they figured it out. Why the fuck would they tell you? So like, I know I'm rambling on, but yeah, no, that's how I look at it. Is it is difficult in the same way that running a marathon is. It's hard, but you know what to do. What if no one even told you what to do? You go, should I run a marathon? Is that even possible? Is this stupid? How did they do it? That's kind of my feelings with it. I don't know if yours is anywhere close to that mark.
No, it's very, very close. It's almost like, yeah, like you're standing in the middle of the bush and you have no idea where to go, but you've got this machete in your hand. And you're like, all right, well, I guess I'm just gonna pick a direction and start bushwhacking and I'll see how far I can get and what's on the other side of wherever the hell I am, you know what I mean?
Hope it's not a
Like it,
tiger. I hope it's not a
I
cliff.
hope not, but I have no idea. So I'm walking and hacking with faith here, hoping that something good is gonna come out of the other side of this. And I have found that more often than not, something good does come out of it. Whether, because like I said, I built businesses that were successful. I built a business that wasn't successful that I thought would be successful. And what I've had to realize, even at the end of that journey, is that, oh, no, 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 something good came out of it. But how willing are you to see and acknowledge and
Correct.
understand the good that came out of it? So I listened to Myron Golden a lot. He says a lot of fascinating things to me. But one of the things that he said that stuck with me, and I just heard him say it for the first time over the last year, was all work works, right? It's either working for you or it's working on you, right? But
Mhm.
all work works. And so I kind of relate that to what we were just talking about, in that a lot of times when you are trekking through the bush and you're bushwhacking, you're being a pathfinder, you're finding a way, not just for others, but for the people that are finding you or following you. And you have no idea whether what you're doing is working or not. Make no mistake, it's working. It may or may not be working in the way that you want it to. And if it's not, it's working on you. Because here's a good example of that. Given the business that I built and ran for 6 years that I thought was going to be this massive success, but it wasn't. That whole time I had a vision in my mind of what success looked like, right? But I had no idea that instead of me getting to that vision of success, that my path running that business was actually going to lead me way over here, and it would lead me to building another business that allowed me to, how do I say this? Not only did it allow me to build the business that I'm building now and to grow it faster than I could have grown the other, but there's no way that I would have the clarity
Mhm.
that I have now. And I mean the crystal clear clarity on several different levels, right? Like who I am, why I wake up in the morning, why I'm doing what it is that I'm doing, why it's important to me, who it's impacting. There's no way in hell I'd have the clarity that I have now had I not allowed that work to work on me for 6 years, even though it was going to turn out completely opposite of how I envisioned that success would look like at the very beginning of that particular journey. And so as a result of that and several other, life lessons I've learned, I've come to understand that, hey, you know what, Myron's right. All work works. And the work that I put into that business over 6 years of my life and like $500,000 of my own money invested alongside my venture and angel investors, all of that going away, it taught me that, oh, no, 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 I was working and something was working. That work was working on me. It was developing me into the person that I needed to be in order to do what it is that I have to do now, which is actually my purpose.
Mhm.
Right. See, I kind of rediscovered my personal, not, and it's to say my personal preference for life. That's a wrong way to say it. I would have to say that, and I don't want to say that I rediscovered my purpose, because I don't think I ever lost my purpose. I think I just gained a much more clear vision of what my purpose is. And now that I have that vision, I'm like, oh, all of that totally makes sense. No, you don't understand. All of it makes sense now. Every little bit of it, from every year I spent trying to do that and struggling, to the 20 years, well, I'm sorry, to the 5 years I spent building the other business before that and all the stuff I learned, the 20 years I spent in the Navy before that. I'm like, oh, I finally get it. But I had to go through the fire first.
Yeah, no, it's for me it was like I started lifting weights in seventh grade, and it by the time I was a senior in high school, I was like pretty buff and I like achieved. And I was like, oh, that's awesome. And for me, early on, it was like hard work, dedication, long time, no shortcuts. Okay. Um, and then it was getting into med school, which is like a lot harder. It was like, oh fuck, because it was no longer just can you do it and build muscle. It was, well, you're now competing with other people. So it doesn't matter if you give it your best effort. You can give it your
Hmm.
best effort, and that's admirable. But when you're competing against other people, you're not trying to break your own personal record. You can give it your best effort. If you scored, and it's a competitive process. It's not a you get this score and you get in. It's the score relative to others. And you go, oh, so your best effort, though good, that might not actually matter. And you go, oh fuck. And then achieving that, and I was like, oh my God, I can do this. And then for me, it was after I decided I didn't want to go, I was like, the next step was, I wonder if I could, because my uncle is a doctor, and he told me if you're smart enough to be a doctor, you're smart enough to make the same money doing something that you enjoy, which is kind of shed some light on how doctors feel. But like,
Sure,
I
yeah.
was like, so to me, I'm like, what if So I now know I can do it, but I didn't really like it. What if I could put that same work and make it like something I like? And I didn't even know what that wanted to be. So I tried several years like writing, Photoshop, and those all failed. And I felt I was going insane. I was like, but the weightlifting and the pre-med, I'm like, but I know how to work it. And then I was like, okay, so it either means I've failed or it's that I just haven't succeeded yet. Because you only really fail if you give up. Otherwise, you can
Right.
just keep going forever, and then eventually, maybe you still haven't succeeded, but then you die, and you go, all right, well, I still didn't fail, I died. But like, so that's how I look
Mm,
at it. And I look at like the podcast, which is I'm almost 6 years in now, and it's working. It's shaky, but it's every year it's coming together a little more.
hmm
And it's the same thing you're saying. I look back at all of that and I go, oh, it because for a while I was kind of angry that and no one made me do it, but I was, man, I spent 4 years at the University of Georgia, 40,000 beautiful women, number one party school, never once went to a football game. All I did was study. And I was resentful of myself. I'm like, you spent 4 years of the I mean, it's Southern women. Like, but I look at it now, I'm like, oh, that was just like a training thing. Because I draw on that all the time now for the podcast. It's just so it's like the work hard of like going to the gym, but it's also like you also have to beat others. It doesn't matter if I give the podcast my best effort. Hey, shut up, pussy. You have to beat everybody around you. And it's I look back at it now, and as you're saying, I go, yeah. And it's not even some like bullshit Hallmark card of it made me who I am. I look back at it very tactically. I'm like, no, this gave me that, like a video game. I'm like, this showed me how to
hmm
get the armor upgrade. This showed me how to get the sniper scope upgrade. This one showed me the stealth upgrade. This one showed me
hmm
the way to attack the base and and how to line things up and how to get allies and how to network and don't stab people in the back and also don't put up with bullshit if anyone stabs you in the back. All of it. And then I was going to ask you this because so now I just turned 35 and I'm like, I I still hope I have a long life ahead of me. And I kind of get excited at like, what the fuck is the next 30 years bringing? And that's where I think the beauty of entrepreneurship is if it works and if you don't, kill yourself, it's not just like, all right, well, I just gotta go to the 9 to 5 for the next 40 years. No, now like I have that excitement that I thought disappeared after, you had your first kiss, you got laid, first time you drank alcohol, and I don't know, first time you drove a car. It's like, yeah, after that, life's kind of boring. You always hear people say that it's all downhill after 18. No, at 35, I'm like legitimately, I get giddy thinking about it. I'm like, what is next year? What the fuck is next year? Like, what's coming? I have no idea what's coming. So that's what I was going to ask you is you extrapolate all of that. You must then go, I wonder what is coming. Do you get that at all?
Oh, I get it all the time, especially nowadays, right? Because as I was saying before, as I was quoting Myron Golding saying that all work works, right? It's either working the way you want it to, or the work is working on you and making you better and shaping you into that person that you need to be in order to actually hit the target. And so for me, I have to consider that I know that God's will for us is always good. And so I have to assume that everything I've gone throughout my entire life, let alone the last 6 years, like, no, you don't
You,
like it's
you
building up to something,
you have to have a foundation. Sorry to interrupt. You have to
right?
have a foundation in God or you'll go insane.
Absolutely. You absolutely, you know what I mean? But I mean, bro, think about the world today. Like it is mad out there. You know what I mean? It's straight up madness and
It's a little hairy.
pandemonium and chaos. You know what I mean? Like we're teetering on the edge of
World War
nuclear
III
war.
or
You know what I mean? Like the
AI might
United
take over the
States is
planet. Also, are we going to space? Are we fighting
Skynet's
China
coming
for the
down.
moon?
You
Like,
know,
oh
like
yeah, and by the
who
way, there are
knows?
UFOs.
It is enough to drive anyone absolutely insane, right? And so you have to have that foundation and you have to have the clarity and the personal strength to be able to pull yourself back to the center of that foundation whenever you feel like the ground underneath you is getting shaky and you're
Hmm.
like, oh, I think I'm going to lose my balance. Because again, things are so mad and wild out there. It's very easy to lose your balance and go like, how did I just stumble into like whatever this is that's I don't even know what's happening to me right now and why, but like so you have to have that foundation. And
You'll
for
you'll
me,
you'll
I
lose your cool.
you'll lose your cool and you'll lose yourself in it, right? And so I've had to have the ability to not just stay within that foundation, but to use it to remind myself that, hey, everything is always going to work out. It's always going to work out. Think about it, dude. It always has worked out. You haven't starved to death. You haven't committed suicide. You haven't walked off a cliff somewhere as you're bushwhacking through the wild trying to find your way. You're still here, right? So it always works out, whether you know it's working out or not. In the end, it's all okay. And I have to assume the same for where I am in life now, given
Yeah.
all of the stuff that I just came through. It's always going to work out and everything is going to be okay. And not only that, but I still have a plan, right? Like a lot of people don't even have a plan for what next year is going to look like, Thomas, let alone, have the ability to get excited about what next year is going to look like. So, I'm one of those people where I like to focus on the positive, you know what I mean? And
You
for
have to,
me,
man. You have to.
and you got to be present, and you got to be positive, and you got to be present, no matter what, no matter how brutal things actually seem. You have to be positive, and you have to be present. And so I maintain positivity in the presence of knowing that, oh no, 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 I'm getting somewhere with all of this work that I'm doing, and my vision of success may not come to fruition, down to the letter, but make no mistake, it's going to be something that I can sit back and look at and go, yeah, but that's still my vision of success.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm gonna pull up a quote. And it's I think it's also important to kind of like clarify that I'm not shitting on like people who are positive, but it's for me, it's not just, kind of a flippant platitude of like stay positive. Like I got into meditation kind of in high school, but more so into college. And now I look at it, I go, well, meditation, I've now realized I thought I was an atheist for 10 years and an agnostic. And I now go, oh, that was me getting close to God. That was my way of prayer as opposed to just, Catholic school, say the rosary or whatever. For me, it's meditation. I go, oh, that's God. But I meditated like 3 or 4 times a day in college, and people are always like, that's so good for you. I did it because it kept me from freaking the fuck out. I could study for 90 minutes and then I would start to get flustered and brain fog. And I go, oh my God, how am I going to, and I'm not even finished studying for the organic chemistry test. And I would go meditate for 10, 20 minutes, like you would take a break in between sets of bench press,
Hmm.
not because you're trying to center yourself, but you're just like, all right, let it all, let it regenerate, let the oxygen in the blood come back. And I
Hmm.
would keep going. And for the same reason I would exercise in the morning. I never once other than like church league basketball. I never like I was in like such good shape in college. I remember people like, are you gonna do like football? And I was like, no, I do this to study. And like it was like, well, why do you go to bed early? Well, how come you're sober? Why do you exercise? It was all because it primed my brain to study longer. I found that on days I didn't exercise, I could study for like 3 hours. If I got a full night's sleep, cardio, weightlifting, and meditation, you're like 14 hours. So for
Hmm.
me, it was like all this shit. So it was never this kind of empty like stay positive. I looked at it very tactically. I looked at it as like a weapon system. I looked at it as like having, air supremacy during an invasion. I was like, oh dude, if you're going into this not well rested or not exercising or hungover, like no, dude, you're not gonna win. So for me, again, like you said, like staying positive is very much so. I mean, one of my best friends I've made through the show, Dale Comstock. Dale was in Delta Force. At 23, Dale was an animal and like CIA ground branch, straight up fucking Jason Bourne shit. And you talk to him, that guy is not a hippie. That guy is not some tree hugging, peace and love man. But if you talk to him, at the core of it all, he will tell you. You got to visualize your success. You got to stay positive. You got to get excited. You're like, this isn't like a white chick with dreads. This is Dale, youngest ever member of Delta Force, and you're like, if Dale in fucking Delta Force is saying stay positive, stay clear, know what you're doing, get excited about it, make sure you're happy. I'm like, yeah, that's not like a luxury, like peace and love, man. I'm like, that is a weapon. It's just no different than a silence.
Hmm.
And I'll pull it up. I know I've been rambling on, but I was gonna say so like the whole staying rooted in God and like you will lose yourself. And for me, like sobriety has helped enormously. Any, like alcohol related and, literal like nervous system, like shakes and stuff, sleeping, exercise, all of it. But I also found like I've been banned from Twitter like 10 times and like I got banned or I got like suspended back in like February. And I don't know what it was, but I just decided to like not get back on for like a month and then I would get back on for a day and then I would take a month off. And I realized that was adding so much to my like subconscious nervous load and not even consciously. Like you should be aware if it's like, yeah, whatever, Chinese nuclear bombers are off the coast. You're like, that's
Hmm.
you maybe we should be thinking about that. It wasn't that. It was just this subconscious. I didn't even know what it was. I'm like, why am I like wound up? Why can't I? And then I would all other variables staying the same, and then I would remove Twitter. And after like a couple days, I would start. Doesn't mean entrepreneurship's not still hard, but I would find it all just kind of get quieter in my mind, and I would I would
Hmm.
I would feel just God, and would be like, keep going forward, do the really important things, make sure you give platforms to people for, suicide prevention and awareness. I have on these guys, Baz, another CIA guy. They hunt down pedophiles and like rescue kids, legitimately like the work of God. I have them on. I help them like raise funds. I'm like, stay focused. Don't you cannot be freaking out about every skirmish on the planet. Maybe there are UFOs, maybe there are asteroids, maybe there is like some airborne version of Ebola. Focus, focus, focus. God, and what you say, I go, I haven't, by virtue of the fact that I'm alive and worrying, tells me that I shouldn't be worrying because God has always brought me through. And it doesn't mean it doesn't get shaky. I mean, as I told you, I lost a brother to suicide. Like, no, it can get fucking dark. It doesn't
Oh
mean
yeah.
like it, and we were talking about, your situation before, and it's like, it's to say like God always has you, that doesn't mean like, yeah, dude, God's got you, rainbows and no, 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 no. I mean, you will stare into like the gaping jaws of Satan. But if you bring it back and stay focused and go, God has brought me this far, everything I've done, every suffering I've had, every reward I've had, it just, I look back and I go, thank God that happened. I'm smarter, I'm more capable, I'm more lethal.
Right.
It's not a trivial statement to say, I am excited for next year. I don't know anyone else my age who doesn't, casually say like, yeah, well, we're not in, college anymore. Life is, I'm like, what? Like, it is the biggest gift to me that I am genuinely excited for what next year brings. And so the quote I was going to say, and I'll stop rambling, is the goal of success is not fast cars and designer bags. It's a regulated nervous system, free time, people you love, and waking up excited to be alive.
Nailed it.
And I look back at even when I was pre-med, I was like, I want a sports car, I want a mansion. And now I'm like, what are we doing right now? You and I are shooting the shit. We've never spoken before. We're smiling, we're laughing, we're talking about how fucked up it is. This is my job. And I go, no, no, this is success. I don't know where I was going with that whole ramble, but no, it's yes, stay centered, stay focused. God hasn't let you drown. Keep going.
Absolutely. And look, that's kind of like the story of life,
Yes.
right? So I just finished writing my autobiography a few weeks ago and submitted it to the Pentagon for publishing approval. And I titled
That's
it,
such a hardcore,
Don't,
that's such a hardcore
it's,
statement.
dude,
No, just as like
it's
it's just like as like a name drop. Be like, yeah, I just finished my book. Pentagon has to clear. That's such like a fucking big dick. Like,
Well, it has to clear, right?
Yeah, I
All
know,
right,
I
because
know.
it is my life story, so I did include a few ninja stories in it, right? But I titled it "Don't Ring the Bell," and I was going to title it something completely different, and I ended up changing the title at the last minute to the title "Don't Ring the Bell." First and foremost, because it was a title that one of my best friends recommended because he was seeing in he was seeing in me what I knew about myself, but I wasn't acknowledging that, yeah, but that's what you're experiencing right now, dude. That's what you're going through right now. That's kind of why you're writing this story right now. It's because of all the choices that you've made to date that led you to this moment that caused you to go sit down and start writing. And so when you're going through SEAL training, everyone knows that you quit SEAL training, they take you to the bell, you ring the bell 3 times, and that's it. You're done. You're out of there, right? And I ended up titling the book Don't Ring the Bell because that's kind of been my life's That's kind of been my life's mantra of just like never quit, never ever quit. No, dude, you don't understand. I'm not telling you tomorrow is going to be peaches and cream. If I'm honest with you, tomorrow's actually going to suck, dude. Like
Mm,
you think today sucked? No, tomorrow is like you're going to wake up and as soon as you go to stand up out of the bed, you're going to think everything's great. You can get ready to start your morning routine. You're like, oh, I'm going to go in here and have a cup of coffee and sit on the couch and meditate for 20 minutes. And as soon as you walk out of the bedroom, somebody kicks you in the nuts as hard as they can, right? That's what you got to look forward to tomorrow being like. But no matter what, you cannot quit. You can never ever ring that freaking bell, right? Because it's all hinging on you.
mm,
All of it. All of it is hinging on you. The ripple effects of you deciding to keep going yet another day, you have no idea how far these ripple effects go and how many people that energy is touching, right? So, no matter how difficult it gets, no matter how brutal times can be, no matter how cold you are, how wet and sandy and hungry and miserable you are, no matter what, you can never, ever, ever ring that bell, right? And when I stood back and kind of looked over the 47 years of life that I've spent on this planet. And I was thinking about what he said. I said, dadgummit, he's right. Like he is right. Like I thought SEAL training was hard. Like let me zoom out a little bit more and take a look at my entire journey from start to where I am now, right? Like no, like my life has been SEAL training, man. It has been one evolution after the other of brutality and working harder than I've ever imagined I'd ever worked in my life, facing demons and obstacles that I'd never imagined I'd not only be able to face, but would be able to overcome. That's been my entire life's journey. And although I'm very, very excited for what next year looks like and the year after that, because I know that there's something good that's cooking that's just for me, even though I'm really, really excited about what that vision looks like, make no mistake, I know that the enemy is out there and
oh
his
yeah.
aim is to destroy
Oh
and
yeah.
obliterate and kill. So I can never just relax and be like,
And
"Oh yeah, everything's going to be
no,
fine."
no,
Like, no,
no,
no, no, no.
no.
Every day I wake up, I've got to be ready for the fight of my freaking life,
Yeah.
right? And still hold on to that positivity and the presence of knowing that, yeah, but everything is going to be okay tomorrow. And dude, wait until a year from now. Wait until you see how freaking awesome your life is going to be a year from now. Just don't ring the bell today. Right. And so, yeah, man, it's everything that you're saying. It makes a tremendous amount of sense. And when it comes down to it, again, like we were saying this earlier, there is enough in the world every day to make the most centered and grounded person go absolutely mad, right? Just bonkers, nuts. But we have to have the ability to focus on like, hey, yeah, but I'm doing the work right now. And like, yeah, it sucks and it hurts and it's cold and it's miserable. but I'm still doing the work. I haven't given up. And it's all going to be okay as long as I can keep going, as long as I can keep whacking these bushes in front of me in order to and stay excited about what's going to be on the other side of it. It's all going to be okay. But make no mistake, like it's with every swing of that machete, your arm, your shoulder is getting more and more and more tired, right? So you're feeling the effects of all of that pathfinding you're doing. And how do I close this up? I don't want to say it the way that I was just saying. I was just thinking,
No, say it. Say whatever comes to mind.
well, I think that in the end, you have to be willing to, like, as an individual, nobody can make you do this, Thomas, but you have to be willing to look at yourself and go, yeah, but I don't care. No, 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 you don't understand. I don't care. Like if my arm could get so tired from bushwhacking that it just freaking falls off and I don't have that arm anymore. But what I'm telling you is that, like, sure, and that's a big deal. That would suck. But what I'm telling you is that I'll get over it after a few minutes and I'm gonna bend over with my other arm and I'm gonna
Yeah.
pick that freaking machete up and I'm gonna get to whacking with the other arm until it falls off. Because that's the mindset that I'm going to have until I'm out of here is that no matter what, I have to keep going. I have to keep doing the work. While I'm doing the work, whether it's working or not, it's working on me. And I'm going to be better for it tomorrow. And it is my, not just my right, but it's my responsibility. It's kind of like what Dale was saying. It's my responsibility to keep myself in the mental mindset of being excited about what's on the other side of this freaking bush whenever I am done weed whacking or whenever, this bush is done working on me. It's my responsibility to stay excited about that so that you don't lose track of not just who you are, but who you're becoming. Because
Mhm.
that's what's really important. Is who are you becoming in the process of all of this work working on you, right?
Yeah.
And we got to stay centered in that. You got to stay mindful of that at all times.
I think, and for me, a big thing is, well, I was gonna say, no, I agree with you. I've always said that, uh, I'm not gonna, there's only one way in which my endeavor ends, and it's clinical brain death. I mean, literally no more electrical activity and no more oxygen going to my brain. And that kind of sounds extreme, but I go, well, no, think about it. If you, the only way you can fail is if you go, I'm done trying. And you might even give it a real A effort. You might stick at it for, I'm 1,833 episodes in, almost 6 years. Sure, that man, that's a heroic effort. But even if it gets, I've been banned from YouTube and iTunes. If I get banned from Rumble tomorrow or Spotify, or that would suck. It's only over if I go, all right, I'm done with this shit, man. Or you can go, yeah, but what if I just kept going? Even if there's no foreseeable way it works. You
Hmm.
go, well, if that's the case, then it might still, even if it's 0.0000001% chance of it working, you go, it only fails if I consciously let it fail. And then you sort of go, but what if you die in the process? I look at it as like, yeah, but then it's like well, to me I look at it as it's like a loophole. It's like, well, now I can no longer compete. I've been taken out of the race. So like
Hmm.
I look at
Hmm.
it as like I won't fail because the only way I'll fail is if I'm not here, and then it's not my issue anymore, and I couldn't even compete. I've been disqualified. So like
Right.
you have to have that, and it's not a trivial thing to go, no, it might not work. You might die. You might be killed. You might be like whatever. But if you just, because if you don't, if you have a red line in your mind, you go, okay, that's the, it's, I don't know, it's like I've never traded stocks in my life, but it's like that's our exit point. If it goes below this, we're cut our
Hmm.
losses. If you have that point somewhere in your mind, either whether it's your, religious like I am, and then you believe, well, there's a demon that goes, I know what that fucking point is. Or it's your own subconscious, say you're an atheist, then it's your own subconscious deep down, you might even let it fail a little bit because, if
Oh,
you get to that
sure.
point, well, that's my red line.
Yep.
If you don't have a red line, if you go, well, at what point do we negotiate peace? And you go, nothing. If I'm out of bombs and the ammo's out, I'm fucking going Japan on this shit. I'm taking this bomber right into your aircraft carrier
Hmm.
face first. Like, if you have that, like, you kind of have to have that. And honestly, it might sound insane, but it's actually not because it frees up all of that mental space and energy. Because if you tell yourself, if I just make it to there, I can quit, man, that's all you're gonna think about. Just make it to there
Yep.
and I can quit. Versus if you just void that out, it goes, well, where's the submission point? You go, death. Yeah, there's not. I don't even have time to think. It's
Yep.
not an option, and I really do believe that. And to like the optimism and everything, excited for next year, yes. Excited for tomorrow, yes. No part of me has any belief that it's just going to be like gliding over. No, it's going to be fucked. It's going to be so hard. It's going to be so difficult, just like every other day that God's gotten me through. And so what can you do for if you know it's coming and you know it's hard? Stack ammo, proverbially, I'm having a stroke. Metaphorically. How do you do that for the podcast? Okay, make sure the podcast is uploaded to every website it can be. So if you get removed from one, you have them on
Hmm.
others.
Hmm.
Make sure you have your Rolodex. Make sure you have everything backed up, not just in Gmail. So if Google removes you, make sure you have some savings put aside. So if all your sponsors drop you tomorrow, you can run the show out of pocket. Make sure you have a backup internet connection. Make sure, okay, well, what else can you do? Make sure you always get 8 hours of sleep. Make sure you're not waking up hungover because you never know what day the battle, you never know when D-Day is. You never know when
Right.
Pearl Harbor is or when 9/11 is. You got to be on your toes. So no matter what day is coming, I'm always waking up after 8 hours of sleep, hitting the gym, cold shower. I don't, well, not cold shower, as we say, clean. It's shower, nice warm shower, and I'm ready to go. And so it's not an illusion that it's gonna be good. No, no, it's probably gonna be hellish. But roll up like at your A game, like full tank of gas. And last thing, and I'll shut up is the whacking the bush. That's why for me it's so important to keep actual like records, not just in my mind, because your mind will always lie to you. It's gonna make the past look
Hmm.
easier and the future look.
Hmm.
No, keep like analytical cold Excel spreadsheets of subscribers, view hours, likes, comments, shares. And every year, pick a random day. I do it all the time. But today's September 9th. If I need to, I will go back and look at September 9th, 2024, September 9th, 2023.
Hmm.
I'll
Hmm.
look at all of those and I go, not only is it growing, the rate of growth is accelerating. And at each of those times, I thought that it was just too hard to keep going.
Yeah.
So it was important to go, I know I don't know what's behind the next bush. Maybe it's a cliff or a jaguar, but I know that I've also always felt this. And maybe this arm fucking gives out. All right, keep going. That's kind of, now that we're both saying it out loud, I realize how insane it must sound to someone that's not doing this. It's just what, like, yeah.
Well, I mean, dude, again, like the world is so chaotic right now. Um, I could say, hey, dude, define insanity, right? But we know that there's an easy definition to attach to it. But what's not easy is everyone's perception of that definition, right? Because clearly everything is changing right now, which means that even some definitions can change, right? So when I think of, just to kind of piggyback on what you just said, when I think of insanity, it's almost like, dude, define insanity, right? Because
Same thing
because
time and time
like
again,
I,
thinking there's going to be a different result.
you know what I mean?
But that's also
But
hard work.
you know what I'm saying? Because I could be walking up the street, and see a dude outside that looks like a literal zombie. You know what I mean? Like he's that gone on drugs. He
Yeah.
like like, and to me, I'm like, that is insane on a few different levels, right? It's insane on a level of like, gosh, how did that
How do you
person
get to
get
there?
there? Like what happens in your life to get you there? But it's also, I look at it and I go, yeah, but it's also insane that I'm gonna cruise by and like, yeah, man, like that really sucks. And like, but now I'm gonna go and meet my friends at this 5-star restaurant and like and eat like a king but no, I'm living in the same world as this dude. You
Mm,
know what I mean? And then I go up another level and I'm like, oh, and it's even more so insane when I zoom out and even more and look at it and go, the leadership of this country allows that to be
to
normal in the
exist.
United States of America. Like how does that exist? It's
It's
2025, it's the United States of America. On this corner, you got a dude that looks like he's a literal zombie, like the living walking
and it's not
dead.
even a news
And
story. You just go,
you know,
huh?
and it's not even a news story. People are like, that's normal. And then you go 2 blocks up the road, right? And you've got 5-star restaurants and people living their lives with 7 figures in the bank. And I look at it and I'm like, that's insane. That isn't like you don't understand like what that's doing to my brain right now. For me to even take a step back and look at both ends of that spectrum and acknowledge the fact that that's considered to be normal life in America today. Like to me, that's insane. And so that's why I joke when I'm saying, like, dude, define insanity. No, no, no. I understand that there's a Webster's dictionary, definition of the word insanity, but dude, define insanity today in 2025 in the United States of America. They're like, this is all insane.
And I don't know, there's multiple ways to look at it. And, it's, part of me looks at it like, depressurization. Put your mask on before you put others on, because everyone tries to help everyone else. The entire
Hmm.
plane's going to die of hypoxia and it's going to go into a mountain. If one person has their mask on, they can get the person next to them. Now you have two. And if they each get two people, very quickly, you can resuscitate the whole plane. So part of me goes, you gotta you gotta take care of you because you in your best spot, and if you can track your entrepreneurship, you go, well, at the rate this is going, I'm gonna make more and more money to the point where I can actually do meaningful philanthropy. Not, and I'm not knocking on it, but I've done it before. I bring like, a pack of toilet paper to the homeless shelter. Like, that's not changing the world. It's not nothing. But I also go, if I stick at this show and make a ton of money, like it's projected to over the next decade, I can do meaningful help. So part of me goes, that's fucked what that guy is. That's horrible. Doesn't mean that you don't feel that. It doesn't mean that, you don't view that as another human. But I also go, you have to help yourself before you help others because I haven't been
Right.
there. But like I told you before, like living at home for 5 years after my brother,
Hmm.
like that was not. If I didn't have parents homes that I could move into, I'll put it this way: if I didn't have a loving family to take care of me, I would have been that guy. There's no way I wouldn't have. There's absolute for 5 years I didn't have an income. My parents took care of me, fed me, clothed me, kept me at home in my late 20s. Okay, and so now I go, well, if I can improve myself more, I can help that. Another thing is, and it's kind of fucked, but I use that as motivation, not in like the simplistic of I don't want to be there. I go, I don't think I'm a bad person. I think I feel and I know I want to do good in this world and I'm rooted in God as you are. And I think you and I are probably average in terms of good people, but I'm still willing to drive by that person and go to that restaurant.
Hmm. Hmm.
That tells me that I shouldn't fuck up because even good people might drive right past you. No one's reaching down and pulling you up. I go,
Hmm.
oh wow, stay focused. There really is no parachute. Okay, wow. And then another part of me goes, that's kind of the long-term excitement. It's very easy to look back in like, I don't know, like 1910. You see that picture of, I think it was like Teddy Roosevelt in a biplane.
Yeah.
It's like an exposed engine. He's got like one goggle on, and
Hmm.
you're like, that's the president on this like Jackass the movie type contraption. It's
Yeah.
like bully, and you're like, that is insane. You look at versus now versus all the aircraft safety measures, and
Hmm.
you get free food and water, and there's a toilet, and you go, man, the 1900s were insane. And then you go back 100 years before that, you're like, people used to just get on trains and like it might be robbed. That's fucking
Hmm.
wild. Hey man, in 2125 on September 9th at 11:11 a.m., they're going to look back at 2025 America, what we think is pretty Gucci, Uber
Yeah.
Eats, iPhones, and they're going to go, fuck that. And I look at that and I go, okay, that's why I have to keep fighting because it's a long line of it should get to a
Hmm.
point where people look back at that. One day they'll look back at this the same way we look at black and white, silent films. and they'll hear that story you just said. And what hopefully a future worth working towards is a whole society of people that go, they just left that guy there. Like that's what it should be. We should move to a world where people go,
Yeah,
because even you say that to me. I live in downtown Portland. I hear crazy people all the time, and part of me is just like God bless, but another part of me is like shut the fuck up. I have a podcast. Like, no, it should be to a point where in 100 years, no one is okay with that. Like,
right.
no one is okay with that. And the only way that happens is if I'm alive and if I'm working and if I'm pushing forward. So it's all, and it really, if to boil all of my interface with reality, whatever consciousness is, whatever this existence is,
Hmm.
I think there's despair and I think there's hope. I don't really think you can get more elemental than that. Hope doesn't mean that it's not bleak,
Right.
but you can give in. And I feel like what is the center of hell in Dante's Inferno? It's not fire, it's ice. It's cold, motionless. There's no activity. That's the center of hell. It's not sulfur, it's ice. I look at hope as like something's happening. The flower's blooming. Maybe it's a rain, maybe it's too much rain. Something's happening. The seeds are pollinating. The birds are, the eggs are hatching. The kids are screaming at recess. There's something. And that's what I really think it just boiled down to the very core is everything I'm doing, everything I think you're doing, it comes down to like despair or hope. And I really believe that it's like, well, that's also another way of saying like God and the devil. There is no tomorrow versus there's going to be tomorrow. It's going to be difficult, but man, it could be awesome. And I don't know, that's kind of how I view it. That is insane. It is insane that not only is it insane that you said that, it's an insane that before this I was meditating and there's a woman screaming outside, and my first thought was shut the fuck up. Instead of like, oh my
Hmm.
God, how did she get there? My first thought was shut the.
Sure.
That's insane.
Hmm.
That is
Hmm.
insane. And which means I don't know, keep working. I don't know where I was going with that. But we can bring it full circle and kind of wrap it up if you want. How did you get the name of your consulting? Because my first thought was like Hiroshima or Admiral Hirohito, which are both
No,
Imperial. And
that's a great question. That's a great question, actually. And it's in line with this kind of 30,000 foot view conversation that we've been having. So when I was retiring from the Navy in 2016, I was diving into the civilian world. I was going to business school at USC to get an MBA, and I knew I wanted to become an entrepreneur. And so I went from living a life where nearly all of my friends were veterans and service members, so people that were cut from the same cloth, like very similar in our mindsets and the way that we carry ourselves, to now, coming over here and I'm going to USC, this amazing school, and now I'm rubbing elbows with people that are multimillionaires and billionaires, and I'm in the business school vibes and all of that, right? And so as I'm getting to know these people and these people are getting to know me and realizing what my background was, I found myself in awkward conversations very often because people would go like, "Oh, dude, you're a freaking hero, man." And I'd be like, "No, no, no, no. Like, what are you talking about? Like, no, I'm not a hero. Like, I'm just, hey, man, I'm just as special as everybody else that did what I did, right? Like, we all raised our hands, we volunteered, and sure, some did more than others, but make no mistake, everybody in the military, we all volunteered. And so, like, I don't identify as a hero, right? And so as to fast forward from that was 2016 of me experiencing that over and over and over and over again, all the way out to say over the last year. And remember what I said, like over the last 2 to 3 years of my life, like everything has changed, right? You want to talk about this roller coaster of good and bad, good and bad, good and bad, positivity, negativity that has been my life over the last few years. Um, as I sat down to start writing my autobiography because it finally clicked like, oh, that's why for years people are screaming at you to write a book, man. It's not because they want you to write another Navy SEAL book, which you've been like completely and adamantly against, but it's because people need to understand, they need to get the point. Like people have to get the point. Like, no, 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 you don't understand, man. Nobody is coming to fricking save you. It's like you were saying earlier. You have to get up and save yourself. Nobody is coming to save you. You have to become the
Yes.
hero that you have been holding out for. And that's the only way you're getting out of this mess,
Yep.
right? And that
Yep.
in itself is insane when
Yeah.
you think about it. Because you're like, well, how do I go from zero to hero? It's just like, get up and figure it out, dude, starting right now and be present in every moment
Yes.
of you figuring it out. But as I was going through the process of structuring the book the way that I wanted it to flow, I was actually going to name the book We Are Heroes, right? And what I meant by that, in the same reason why I built Hero Consulting into Hero Consulting and even the website is wearehero.com is because I felt like I came to in that process of writing my life story, I feel like I came to the understanding of a couple of things. First and foremost, I realize like as I'm writing my life story, I'm looking back over my life and I'm going, oh my God, yeah, like no wonder people have been telling me to write this story. This is crazy.
Wild
This
shit.
is crazy, wild shit that I've experienced and that I've survived, right? And so it caused me to look at it and go, okay, like calm down, come to grips with that. What's another way that you should be looking at this? And then when I look back over it, I said to myself, wait a minute, man. Why do you keep shrinking yourself? Why do you keep shrinking in front of people? Like if people are telling you as a result of everything that you were just over here saying, like, dude, this is crazy. I can't believe I went through all that stuff. I can't believe I experienced all that stuff. And then you come out of that and you come over here and people are like, dude, you're a freaking hero. And I'm like, no, 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 like, no, that's not. I was just doing my job. It's like, why are you shrinking? Why
Hmm.
are you shrinking back when you got like think about it. Do you go to school and you study, you gather all this data to study it so that you can understand the outcome of a situation if this data is input,
Hmm.
right? Well, if all of these people are giving you all this data, all of these people are telling you what they see when they look at you, all these people are telling you what they feel when they're around you. Who in the hell are you
To say
to
it's
tell
not.
all of these people that they're wrong? And all of these people that know that's not the case, that's not true. When you got all of these people standing around saying, no, you are a hero. Seriously. It's not Superman. It's not Iron Man. It's not Spider-Man. Like this, we live in the real world and this is
Hmm.
real life, right? And we're telling you that no, 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 dude, you are the hero that we've been holding out for. That person is you. Who in the hell am I to tell all those people that they're wrong? Who
Hmm.
am I to tell all those people that no, 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 like what you're seeing and feeling and sensing when you're around me, that's wrong. I'm just as normal as everybody else. When I know, like, dude, you're not normal. Are you kidding me? You're not normal. Like you just saw your friend get his face blown off and you ignored it and you continued mission until the mission was over. Like, no, dude, that they're not wrong. Are you kidding me? Like, you were on your deathbed over here, man. You were literally on your deathbed. And like out of nowhere, like the phoenix, you rose from the ashes and
Hmm.
became this king. Like, who are you to tell those people that they're wrong when they look at you and they say you are a hero? And so then I zoomed out even more as I fully considered the point that I want people to get from reading my story. And in my opinion, the point is this. So think about what you were telling me you went through. after your brother died, and you even got to a point where you felt like yeah, I would kind of consider this deathbed. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I feel like I'm done. I don't want to keep going.
I'm
Like
burned. I
I
feel like
know
I've
I
tried.
should because other people are depending on me to keep going, and I don't want my parents to have to bury another child,
Yeah.
and all these people are depending on me, and like my younger cousin who's always looked up to me, what is it going to say to him if I just give up and take myself out of this
Yeah.
world? It's completely different. Like you when you were going through all of that stuff, Thomas, I was somewhere on the other side of the world, like in a gunfight, fighting for my life, and like I didn't even know you existed. You didn't even know I was existed, but I was over here doing what you would consider to be heroic shit, right? Meanwhile, while I'm over there doing what what God said my version of heroic shit would look and feel and be like. You were all the way on the other side of the world in the middle of your own hero's journey.
Hmm.
And it looked and felt completely different from mine. Mine involved, gunfire and bombs and AC-130 gunships dropping ordnance on the Tangi Valley, doing the Lord.
You just froze up. What just happened? Hey, Ty, you just froze up. I don't know if you can hear me.
And
I don't know what just happened. Froze
yours,
up. You're doing AC-130, dropping
right?
orders, doing the Lord's work, and
You
it
know
froze.
what I
Keep
mean?
going. Keep going.
So that was my life's version of me being a hero and why people look at me and say, dude, you're a hero. But you were going through your own hero's journey and fighting for your life, right? Like nobody can tell you that during that time were you experiencing all of that. And I know that you were fighting for your life because I've been there and I had to
Yeah.
fight for my life that way too, especially after my sister died. I was just like
Like, why shouldn't I just up
why
and back
like
out? What's the
and
point?
one of the only things that kept me around was like, dude, you will not be the cause of your mom bearing another child, right? So you
Same.
were going through your own hero's journey. And guess what? Not only did you survive that hero's journey, because it could have taken you out, you could have just taken the easy way out and taken yourself out, right? But you found a way to thrive through it. You told me the story already. You found a way to thrive through it. Be like, no, man, I got to get my shit together, and like this is what I want to do, and I got to get up in the morning, after going to sleep
Mm.
early last night, and I got to go to the gym, and I got to work out, and I got to eat clean, and I got to study, and I'm gonna build this podcast channel. I don't care how hard it's gonna be, and like it could be years before I see anything from it, but at least I'm never ever going to quit. Where's your limit, bro? Oh, that's right, I forgot. You don't freaking have one.
Clinical
You
brain
were
death.
navigating your own hero's journey, and it got you to where you are now. And guess what? You survived all of that madness. Not only did you survive through it, but you thrived through it. You know why? It is because you are the hero you were waiting to show up and save you. And you realize that that person wasn't coming because that person was already in you and you had to go find him. That's why I love meditation. I was also meditating right before I hopped on this podcast with you, right? So we were connected before we even got
Fuck
virtually
yeah.
connected, right?
Fuck yeah.
But you were becoming the hero that you were waiting for. And that's the point that I want to make. That is the message that I want to give people as they're reading my story is that, brother, you are the hero. You're the hero that you've been holding out for. If you are willing to get up tomorrow and fight the good fight, And like I could go down a rabbit hole talking about what that means, like fighting a good fight. But like I don't need to do that. Like you know what it means to be a good person. You know what it means to walk the path. You know, like narrow is the path, right? So
Fishing
you know what
line.
it means to do that. You know what I mean? So if you are willing to do that and never ever give up and work your hardest not to just fulfill your vision for you, but so that you can serve everyone around you at the highest level possible, right? You are the hero that you've been waiting out for. You've been on your hero's journey. You see, I can't, well, at least I should say, I shouldn't ever compare my journey to yours and then go, oh, well, mine was harder, or well, yours was better, or no, no, man, that's not how life works. That is not how life works. You have your path, I have my path. That person has their path, that person has their path, and we can't go and try to compare any of them, right? Because it's your life is your life and my life is mine. But who am I to tell you that all the stuff that you went through didn't feel as dire as all of the stuff that I was going through, man, and
Mhm.
all of the stuff that I survived and it almost took me out. You were in the same place, just on a different path where all that stuff you were going through, it almost took you out. But guess what? It didn't. It lost and you won. So you are the hero that you've been holding out for. And that's the point that I want to make is that as long as you're still on this planet, right? You look at what the good book says. If a man is amongst the living, there is hope for that man or for that woman. And even a live dog is better off than a dead lion. So keep going. You are the hero that you've been holding out for. We are the heroes that we have been holding out for. That's why I titled the company Hero Consulting, because for me, like my bread and butter is leadership and teaching and growing other people. Like my bread and butter is to be a servant leader and to go out and help other people to accomplish their goals, right? And so, you know, as a leadership development consultant, as an executive coach, a lot of what I do is just mindset reframing, and it's getting those leaders at middle market companies and large enterprises to understand that, oh, no, 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 you don't understand, like you have it all already. Like I'm not going to teach you anything that you don't already know. I'm not going to come in and be like I'm smarter than you and I'm going to give you the answers. Like no, you don't understand, all the answers are already within you. I'm just going to help you to reframe your mindset in a way that's going to allow you to see them clearly, because
Mm.
they're already there. But you're clouding your vision with all of this other stuff that you're telling yourself and all this other stuff, all this other content that you're allowing your brain to absorb instead of you focusing on like what is literally right in the center of your chest and the information that is right in front of your face. And so that's the story of why I named the company Hero Consulting. And like I said, I was going to title the autobiography We Are Heroes until one of my best friends kind of clunked me upside the head and went, dude, what are you thinking? Like, this is the title of your life. This is the title of the book you're writing. And I went, oh, you're right.
Fuck yeah. Yeah, no, that's I always and if you don't mind, we got to wrap it up in a minute. But I was gonna say is, even throughout doing this, I only stopped drinking about a year and a half ago. So even while doing the podcast, and I was never drinking
That's good
heavily,
though,
but
man.
more than I needed, and drinking or smoking. And I just always had this like image of myself of like when the podcast really succeeds, when it's really paying all my bills, I'm gonna be healthy, I'm gonna lose weight, I'm gonna be waking up early, and like it sounds so stupid, but now that I've been doing it like a year and a half, like my gut feeling was always correct. You had to just stop drinking, stop smoking, stop the McDonald's, stop staying up late, and no one was gonna do it. There was never gonna be a moment where I became that person. I'm just like, oh no, but be smarter with money, be a better family member, call your parents, tell them you love, blah 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 blah. like, oh yeah, no, you have to just no one's doing it. And now that I've done it, you also realize that there was no one ever, the gate was never closed. I could have done this years ago. And I think that's the
Yeah,
important thing is like, you don't have to wait 10 years. You can just start. Um, but yo, for right now, we gotta wrap this up. I got another show I gotta jump into. Can you email me all the links and shit you want? I'll email you my number
absolutely.
just so we can text. It'll be easier. And
Okay.
dude, I'd love to have you back on. That was great.
Yeah, I'd love to be back on. I really enjoyed the time, brother. Let's do it.
Fuck yeah, I was gonna say one last when we pull up the image I had up earlier, the quote about success. There's another one I think it's funny just because you kept mentioning insane. It's one of my favorite ones. It's like a picture of a cat swimming in water. Um, I am willing to push myself into unimaginable depths of desperation. I will always succeed because I am insane. And like that, I'll send it to you. But like, I love that one where it's like push yourself into desperation and give into the madness. And it's the only way to go. And I just love that one because it's such like a paradoxical. It's not like, oh, I'm gonna win. You're like, no, you have to be as insane as a cat. Well, he just exited out by accident, I think. Well, we gotta wrap this shit up. So guys, thank you so much for watching and we'll be up tomorrow.